What's up everyone? It's No Skills on Wheels here for another video. It should always be videos because it's me and it's my channel, so why not? I thought today I would cover new rider advice, little tips and stuff that I've picked up over the years, or things to watch out for, because it is a bit of a learning curve when you first start riding. No one really ever tells you everything that you need to know because they think, oh, experience will teach them that. And that is true, you will learn from experience, but if you know it going in, then you can kind of learn how to deal with it before it's needed, which I think is always good. So my first piece of advice, if you're just starting out riding, will probably be learn your throttle control, because it seems something so simple, but too many people try and bite off more than they can chew straight from the off. They'll try and go a bit quicker than they're capable of handling, or they'll just accidentally go a bit too fast because their throttle's a bit more sensitive than they thought originally. So I would personally go somewhere secluded, somewhere private, maybe a car park that's quiet, or if you know, like a quiet road, maybe near where you live, go there, get used to doing a bit of slow riding and get used to how your throttle responds. So throttle control, that is the main thing. Obviously other things are learning your turning circles, learning how to handle the weight of the bike, things like that really. Someone got themselves in trouble. Most things with bikes, it's experience that wins the day. I've heard a lot of advice where people say, oh, the main thing is to lean your body every chance you get. And I think the first thing you really need to learn is how to handle the weight of it, because you can't throw your weight around if you can't control the weight of your bike anyway. It's a recipe for disaster. All it's going to make you do is lean too far in a corner and you could come off, or you could lean too much, or you could be going too slow for the lean and then you could drop your bike. And getting used to the brakes, because a lot of people snatch at the brakes at the first sign of trouble, which most riders will do at some point or another. I've done it, and the brakes lock up and then chances are you're going to end up on your ass if you don't save it. Basically got to know your bike. If you get a new bike, don't go straight out on the road. Whether it's you've been riding for a while, as soon as you get a new bike, still get used to it in somewhere quieter. Just get to know your bike. Every rider would say get to know the bike before you go crazy. If you're going to be riding a motorbike, whether it's anything from a 50cc to 1000 or whatever you're going to be riding really, you're going to need to learn the clutch, the bike point, that point where the clutch engages. You need to learn that point, because if you don't, at some point you're going to release the clutch too much with a bit too much throttle, and you're going to run the risk of flipping your bike, if not making the world's most jittery start. Or on the other side of it, you could not have enough throttle on it and stall out, and then you run the risk of dropping your bike. It's another reason why you should start on a quiet road, because then you can learn how to get your bike started again without panicking, because the last thing you want is to be at some traffic lights with people waiting and not being able to start your bike again, because it might put you off, especially if you've only just started riding. It might knock your confidence. Once you get to know your bike, there's just a few things you need to watch out for. White lines are one of them. They contain a little bit of glass in them, which makes them extremely slippery when wet. Drain covers, you will find a lot of them on awkward corners that you don't see coming, and in the rain they will catch you off guard, so always be prepared for a drain cover, or be prepared to move out of the way. You'll see a lot of bikers even in the dry trying to avoid drain covers, because you can get things sticking up from them, and when that happens it's quite easy to pop a tyre. So avoid drain covers as best you can. Don't put yourself in danger trying to avoid them, but just try and avoid them. Road positioning, you don't always want to be riding in the centre. You shouldn't really ride in the centre at all. They'll always tell you to ride either on the left or on the right, because where cars drive, one tyre goes either side. which leaves a big gap in the middle. So if anything's going to leak or any glass or anything, it's all going to build up in the middle. So you should always try and ride to one side. I don't claim to ever be the best rider out there because I'm not. I'd like to say I'm more than capable, but I don't like to try and throw my bike around every chance I get or speed every chance I get. I speed without meaning to sometimes, and it is an accident. You don't always look at your speedo, and it's very hard to judge speed on a motorbike sometimes because they accelerate so easily, and when you're sat on it, it does feel like you're going a lot slower. And if you ride, you know this already, that sometimes you think you're going 30 and you're really going 50, and as soon as you realise, obviously you adjust your speed and everything, and you hope there was no cops around to see it, because it is just a simple accident. Another thing new riders have a tendency of doing is not wearing the actual gear. I think it's always worthwhile. You legally have to wear a helmet anyway, but it's always worthwhile wearing a decent jacket or quite a solid jacket, some protective gloves, some boots if you've got them, even some trousers, because on the off chance you do go down, which statistically when you're a new rider the chances are at some point you will either drop the bike, which is a gentle fall but still a fall, or you'll come off. And when that's the case, you want the right gear. I also want to go over a few things, a few benefits of riding, because I can go over all the negatives and all the things you should do as a new rider, but there are benefits. There's things that you learn just by doing it. One of them is you learn to anticipate traffic. You can see ahead of yourself quite a far distance, and you learn to see what cars are about to do. You can always predict it, and I've had this conversation with a few bikers before. You almost feel like you're psychic because you know what they're about to do, and I think you know before they do half the time. So you can watch a car and think, okay, that person's about to do that or this or that. And to be honest, the more you ride, the more you start learning to predict what cars are going to do, regardless of the driver, regardless of the car, buses or whatever. You'll learn to predict what they're about to do. But the other benefit is you learn the roads, but in a more free environment. I've got all the space in the world on a bike because lanes are big. They don't feel it when you're in a car, but they are actually quite big. So when you're on a bike, you have got more room to play with, but it does also mean that you've got to almost protect the room you've got, because some cars either aren't going to see you or they're going to just try and take the space anyway. Also, the other thing with bikes is you feel a part of bikes. Cars, you're just sat in. Even the nicest car in the world, when you're sat inside it, you're just sat inside a car. On a bike, every bike feels different. The whole thing feels different. If it's a nice day out on a bike, you can see more, you can move quite freely, you don't get cramped up. And you have more fun. In my opinion, you don't get the same freedom in this car as you do on a bike. On a bike, it gets you places. If it's your first mode of transport, you will love bikes more than you ever can imagine, because it's freedom as much as anything else. I will wholeheartedly say riding is the best thing I've ever done. It's the feel of it, everything about it is amazing to me. I can't pick fault. There's obviously a few cons, but not enough to ever discourage me. The way it feels is honestly amazing, and I hope through these videos I can convince even a small percentage of you to start riding and enjoy riding, because I generally believe you should. I think if you are considering it, do it. If you have the money to do it and you can get the right equipment to do it, you will love it. I have no doubt in my mind about it. But try to be careful when you first start. But even if you're only on a bike just to get around, but you're actually going to get a car, it still has its benefits, because the rules on the road are all the same. And I don't want to seem like a broken record. I don't want to bore people with biking, because if you've watched my videos, if I am repeating myself, it's because I genuinely am passionate about riding. It's an amazing feeling, and I can't stress that enough to people. Only people that have ridden will fully understand. If you have any questions, leave below in the comments. If you like my videos, please subscribe, like it, share it with people if you want. I'll try and bring out more videos in the next week or so. Happy riding. See you later.